They say you can't choose your family, but God, how I wished I could have. For 23 years, I'd been the family punching bag, the cautionary tale mothers whispered about to keep their daughters in line. "Don't be like Maya," they'd say, their voices dripping with pity and disgust. "Poor thing dropped out of college, works at the dingy cafe, and look at her, plain as bread, that one." I remember the exact moment I became invisible in my own family. I was 19, standing in our cramped living room, my hands shaking as I held the withdrawal slip from Stanford. Mom didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just looked at me with this hollow disappointment that somehow hurt worse than any tantrum could have. "You're throwing your life away," she said flatly, "after everything we sacrificed." What she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd dropped out because Dad had gotten sick. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. Someone needed to work full-time to help with the medical bills, and my older brother Marcus was already established in his law career. My younger cousin Sienna was still in high school, the golden child who could do no wrong. So it fell to me, the middle child, the forgettable one. I took the fall silently. I don't know why. Pride, maybe. Or perhaps some naive hope that they'd figure it out themselves, that they'd see what I'd sacrificed. They never did. Dad died 8 months later. At his funeral, Aunt Catherine, Sienna's mother, actually had the audacity to pull me aside and say, "It's such a shame your father didn't live to see at least one of his children make something of themselves." I'd wanted to scream. I'd wanted to tell her everything. But I just smiled that tight, painful smile I'd perfected and walked away. The years that followed were a blur of humiliation. Every family dinner became a showcase for everyone else's achievements, while I sat there, the designated failure. Marcus made partner at his firm. Sienna graduated summa cum laude from Yale. My younger cousins got engaged, bought houses, traveled to Europe. And me? I worked double shifts at Moonbeam Cafe, a tiny coffee shop in downtown Portland. I'd started as a barista, but I had a knack for it. The art, the science, the small moments of connection with customers. Within 2 years, I was assistant manager. Within 4, I'd learned everything about running a coffee business. Inventory, vendors, roasting techniques, customer service, marketing. Not that my family cared. To them, I was still serving coffee, still wearing an apron, still the dropout who'd peaked in high school. "Maya makes coffee for a living," Sienna would say at family gatherings, her voice sweet as poisoned honey. "Isn't that nice? Someone has to do those jobs, right?" She'd gotten everything I'd given up. The career, the respect, the pride in our parents' eyes before Dad died. Mom had basically moved in with Aunt Catherine after Dad passed, and together they'd poured all their love and attention into Sienna, the perfect daughter, the one who'd done everything right. And now she was getting married. The engagement announcement came via a family group chat, because of course it did. Aunt Catherine had sent approximately 40 photos of Sienna's hand, the diamond ring catching light from every conceivable angle. She said, "Yes," the message read, "our baby girl is engaged to the most wonderful man. Dr. James Chen, Harvard Medical School surgical resident at Mass General. We're so blessed." The messages flooded in. "Congratulations. She deserves it. What a catch." Mom sent a string of heart emojis and, "My beautiful niece." I stared at my phone screen, that familiar ache settling in my chest. I typed out a simple, "Congrats, Sienna," and set my phone down. That night, lying in my tiny studio apartment above a laundromat, I let myself feel it, the unfairness of it all. I'd given up my future so our family wouldn't drown in medical debt, I'd sacrificed my education, my dreams, my chance at the life everyone else seemed to be living. And for what? To be treated like the family embarrassment? But I was tired of crying about it. So very tired. The engagement party was held at Aunt Catherine's house, a sprawling colonial in the suburbs that she never let anyone forget she'd paid off early. I almost didn't go. The invitation had come as an afterthought. A text from Mom. "You'll be at Sienna's party Saturday, won't you? Try to dress nicely." Try to dress nicely. As if I showed up everywhere in rags. I went anyway, wearing the one good dress I owned, a simple black number I'd found at a thrift store. I did my hair, put on makeup, and practiced my smile in the mirror. The key to surviving these events was to be invisible. Arrive, congratulate the couple, leave. The house was packed with people I half recognized. Aunt Catherine's book club friends, Sienna's sorority sisters, various family members I only saw at weddings and funerals. I grabbed a glass of cheap champagne from the kitchen and stationed myself in a corner, watching. Sienna looked radiant, of course. She always did. Tall, blonde, with the kind of effortless beauty that made everyone else feel like they were playing dress-up. She worked the room like a politician, laughing at jokes, touching arms, making everyone feel special. And then I saw him. Dr. James Chen stood next to her, and my breath caught. He wasn't particularly tall, maybe 5'10", but he carried himself with quiet confidence. Sharp jawline, dark hair styled perfectly, warm brown eyes that crinkled when he smiled. He wore a tailored navy suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent, but it wasn't his looks that stopped me. It was the fact that I recognized him. My mind raced back 4 months. A busy Saturday morning at Moonbeam. I'd been covering for a sick employee, working the bar myself. A man had come in, handsome, stressed, with circles under his eyes. He'd ordered a cortado and slumped into a corner, booth with a stack of medical journals. Over the next 2 weeks, he became a regular. Always polite, always tired, always studying. We'd started talking, small things at first, how his day was going, what he was reading, whether he preferred the Ethiopian or Colombian roast. His name was James. He was a surgical resident, working insane hours at the hospital. We'd clicked. God, we'd really clicked. Those brief conversations became the highlight of my day. He'd ask about my recommendations, and I'd make him custom drinks based on his mood. He told me about his work, the pressure, the impossible expectations. I told him about the cafe, about coffee culture, about my dreams of maybe opening my own place someday. "You should," he'd said, his eyes serious. "You clearly have a gift for this." No one in my family had ever said anything like that to me. We'd exchanged numbers after that second week. Started texting, nothing inappropriate, just friendly. He'd send me pictures of terrible hospital coffee with captions like, "Send help." I'd send him photos of latte art I was proud of. He'd been so easy to talk to, so genuinely interested in what I had to say. And then, one day, he just stopped coming, stopped texting. I'd assumed he'd moved on, found a cafe closer to the hospital, or maybe just got too busy. It hurt, but I'd accepted it. Now here he was, at my cousin's engagement party, as my cousin's fiancé. I felt physically ill. "Maya!" Aunt Catherine's voice cut through my spiral. She descended on me with Sienna and James in tow. "There you are, hiding in the corner as usual. Come meet Sienna's fiancé." I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. James's eyes met mine, and I watched the recognition hit him like a freight train. His face went pale, then red, then pale again. "James, this is my niece Maya," Aunt Catherine said, oblivious. "The one I told you about. She works at a coffee shop." "We've met," James said quietly. Sienna's perfectly sculpted eyebrows rose. "You have?" She works at a cafe I used to go to. His voice was strained. Oh, how funny! Sienna laughed, that tinkling sound that made my teeth hurt. Small world, though I suppose everyone needs their coffee fix, right? Maya, you should have given him the family discount. I found my voice. I didn't know he was family. The conversation moved on, but James kept glancing at me, his expression unreadable. When Aunt Catherine dragged Sienna away to meet some other guests, James lingered. Maya, Don't, I said sharply. Just don't. I need to explain. You're engaged to my cousin. I think that explains everything. He looked like I'd slapped him. It's not what you think. Really? Because I think you were flirting with me while you were dating her. I think you got what you wanted, some fun, some distraction from your real life, and then you disappeared. How am I doing so far? No, that's not... He ran his hand through his hair, destroying its perfect styling. Sienna and I weren't together then. We'd broken up. It was over. I laughed bitterly. Clearly not. We have history, family pressure. It's complicated. It's really not, I said. You made your choice. Congratulations on your engagement, Dr. Chen. I walked away before he could respond, before I could cry in front of him, before I could do something stupid like believe him. I made it to the bathroom and locked the door. My hands were shaking. 4 months. He'd been back with Sienna for 4 months and never mentioned it. Never explained. Just vanished. And the cruelest part? Of course he'd chosen Sienna. Everyone did. She was perfect. Successful, beautiful, from the right family. What was I? The dropout barista with the sad life and the studio apartment. Why would someone like James Chen choose me when he could have her? A knock on the door. Maya, sweetie, are you in there? Mom's voice. I splashed cold water on my face and opened the door. There you are, she said. Aunt Catherine wants to do toast soon. Try to look happy, okay? This is Sienna's special day. Of course it was. The toasts were torture. Aunt Catherine gushed about how proud she was, how James was the son she'd never had, how this was everything she'd dreamed of for her daughter. Marcus talked about growing up with Sienna, how she'd always been destined for greatness. No one mentioned me. No one ever did. I left without saying goodbye, slipping out the back door while everyone was distracted by the cake. I walked the 3 miles home because I couldn't afford an Uber and I needed to think. James texted me that night. Please, let me explain. It's not what you think. Can we talk? I deleted it. He texted again the next morning. Maya, I'm sorry. I should have told you. I should have handled this better. Please. Delete. By the 3rd day, the texts stopped coming. Good. I had work to focus on, a life to live, no matter how small and disappointing my family thought it was. But the universe apparently had other plans. 2 weeks after the engagement party, my manager at Moonbeam pulled me aside. Maya, I need to talk to you about something. My stomach dropped. Was I being fired? Had I done something wrong? I'm selling the cafe, she said. I know this is sudden. My husband got a job transfer to Seattle, and we need to move fast. I wanted to tell you first because, well, you practically run this place. I sat down heavily. Moonbeam was more than just a job. It was my sanctuary, my purpose, the one place where I felt competent and valued. I'm offering you first right of refusal, she continued. If you want to buy it, I'll give you a fair price. I know you don't have much capital, but I've seen your business plan. I stared at her. My what? The business plan in your locker, the one for your own coffee shop. Maya, it's good, really good. You have the skills, the knowledge, the customer relationships. You just need the space and the equipment, which you'd be getting. I'd forgotten about that plan. I'd written it 2 years ago in a fit of optimism, then shoved it away because dreams like that weren't for people like me. I can't afford it, I said quietly. Talk to the bank. You might surprise yourself. That night, I pulled out the business plan. I'd done the research, market analysis, competitor assessment, financial projections, marketing strategies. It was thorough, professional, ambitious. It was also completely impossible. The bank would laugh me out of the building, except they didn't. The loan officer, a middle-aged woman named Patricia, actually read my plan, really read it. She asked questions, pushed back on some assumptions, but ultimately nodded. Your credit is good. Your plan is solid. You've got industry experience and a proven track record at the current location. I can approve this, but the payments will be tight. I didn't care. For the first time in years, I felt something other than resignation. I felt hope. I bought Moonbeam 3 weeks later. My manager moved to Seattle, and I became the sole owner of a coffee shop. It was terrifying and exhilarating and completely consuming. I changed things slowly, updated the menu, renegotiated with suppliers, started hosting open mic nights on Thursdays, brought in local artists to display their work. The cafe started buzzing with new energy, new customers, new life. I didn't tell my family. What was the point? They'd find some way to diminish it. But 6 weeks after I took over, Sienna posted on Instagram, "Cafe hunting for the perfect venue for my bridal shower. Any suggestions in Portland?" An idea began forming in my mind. Dark, petty, satisfying. I direct messaged her. "I actually own a cafe now, Moonbeam in downtown. We do events. Would love to host your bridal shower. Family discount, of course." She responded within minutes. "OMG, Maya, that's amazing. I had no idea you'd moved up to management. Yes, let's definitely talk. I want something really elegant, though. Can your place do elegant?" Management, not ownership. Of course. "Absolutely," I typed. "I'll make it perfect." Planning Sienna's bridal shower became my obsession. She wanted elegant, I'd give her elegant. I'd give her the most perfect, Instagram-worthy, magazine spread event she'd ever seen. And I'd make damn sure everyone knew exactly who was responsible for it. We met 3 times to plan. Sienna brought Aunt Catherine and Mom to the first meeting, and watching their faces when they realized I actually owned the place was almost worth the years of humiliation. "You own this?" Mom said, looking around as if seeing it for the first time. "I bought it 2 months ago." Aunt Catherine's smile was tight. "Well, that's unexpected. I hope you didn't take on too much debt." The bank seemed confident in my business plan. Sienna, to her credit, seemed genuinely excited. "This place is actually really cute, Maya. Very rustic." Rustic, right. James came to the second planning meeting. Sienna had insisted he help choose the menu since he'd be paying for it. Her words, not mine. He looked uncomfortable the entire time, avoiding my eyes while Sienna prattled on about color schemes and guest lists. "The theme is garden romance," she explained. "Lots of flowers, white and gold accents, elegant but whimsical. Can you do that?" "I can do that," I said, making notes. "And the food needs to be sophisticated. No basic finger sandwiches." "James, honey, you said you've had their coffee before. Is it actually good?" James finally looked at me. "It's the best coffee in Portland." Something flickered in his eyes. Regret, maybe, or guilt. I looked away. "Perfect. And Maya, I'll need you to serve, obviously. Maybe wear something nice. Some of my friends can be a bit particular." "I'll handle everything personally," I said, smiling that tight smile. After they left, I allowed myself a moment of fantasy. I imagined the perfect revenge. Standing up at the shower, microphone in hand, telling everyone exactly how James and I had met. How he'd pursued me while supposedly broken up with Sienna. How he'd disappeared without explanation. But that would hurt me as much as them. I'd be the homewrecker, the jealous cousin, the bitter barista who couldn't stand to see Sienna happy. No, my revenge would be subtler, smarter. I'd make Sienna's shower absolutely flawless. I'd show my entire family exactly how talented, professional, and successful I actually was. I'd let my work speak louder than any dramatic revelation could. And then, I'd send them the bill, at full premium event pricing, family discount be damned. The day of the bridal shower, I arrived at the cafe at 5 a.m. I'd hired extra staff, 2 servers, a bartender, and a prep cook. We had 8 hours to transform Moonbeam into a garden paradise. I'd gone all out. White tablecloths with gold runners, centerpieces of white roses, peonies, and eucalyptus that I'd arranged myself after watching countless YouTube tutorials. String lights woven through hanging plants, a champagne bar with a custom cocktail menu, a dessert table with macarons, petit fours, and a 3-tier naked cake decorated with edible flowers. The menu was sophisticated without being pretentious. Smoked salmon crostini with dill creme fraiche, prosciutto-wrapped asparagus, caprese skewers with balsamic reduction, mini quiches, and a selection of artisan sandwiches. For drinks, I'd created a signature lavender latte and a rose cardamom cold brew, plus the champagne bar. By 1 p.m., the cafe looked like something out of a wedding magazine. I'd changed into a simple but elegant black dress, professional, not servile, and checked everything one last time. The guests arrived at 2 p.m., 30 women in sundresses and designer handbags, chattering and laughing. Sienna looked stunning in a white lace dress, her hair in perfect waves. Mom and Aunt Catherine flanked her like proud generals, surveying their victory. I greeted them at the door, with champagne flutes on a silver tray. "Welcome to Moonbeam. Everything's ready for you." The reactions were immediate and gratifying. "Oh my God, this is gorgeous. Sienna, this is perfect. I can't believe this is a coffee shop." Aunt Catherine looked around, her expression caught between impressed and annoyed. "Maya, you did all this?" "I own the place," I said pleasantly. "This is what we do." I watched as they took photos, gushed over the decorations, sampled the food. Sienna was in her element, holding court at the head table, opening gifts, laughing at stories. And I was everywhere, not hovering, not intrusive, but present, anticipating needs, refilling drinks, ensuring perfection. One of Sienna's friends, a blonde woman in a pink dress, pulled me aside. "Excuse me, are you the owner?" "I am." "This is incredible. Do you have a card? I'm planning my sister's baby shower, and I'd love to book this space." I handed her my card, trying not to smile too widely. "I'd be happy to help." By the time the shower ended at 6 p.m., I'd received 8 business cards from potential clients and countless compliments. Aunt Catherine's friends were particularly impressed, which I could tell annoyed her. As the last guests filtered out, Sienna approached me. She'd had several glasses of champagne and was glowing with happiness. "Maya, this was amazing," she said, pulling me into an unexpected hug. "Seriously, you made this so special." For a moment I felt guilty. She seemed genuinely grateful, genuinely kind. Maybe I'd been wrong about her. Maybe... "I'll tell everyone I know about your little cafe," she continued. "I'm sure you could use the business. It must be so hard, running a place like this all by yourself." And there it was. "I appreciate that," I said neutrally. Mom approached, her expression carefully neutral. "You did well today, Maya. Your father would have been proud." My father, the man I'd sacrificed everything for, whose death had set me on this path, whose memory my family invoked only when it was convenient. "Thank you," I managed. "Though I do hope you're not taking on too much debt with this place," she continued. "Small businesses fail all the time. Maybe you should have someone look at your finances. I have an accountant, Mom. Still, if you need help, I don't. James appeared then, looking for Sienna. His eyes met mine across the room, and I saw something there. Admiration, maybe, or regret. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something, but Sienna grabbed his arm. Babe, let's take a selfie in front of the flower wall before we go. They posed, beautiful and perfect, while I started cleaning up. I sent the invoice 3 days later. Standard event pricing, venue rental, food and beverage, service charges, plus a coordination fee for the custom decorating and menu planning. Total, $4,200. Sienna called me within an hour. Maya, there's been a mistake with the bill. No mistake. That's the standard price for an event, of that size and complexity. But you said family discount. I said I'd make it perfect. I did. This is actually below what I'd normally charge for that level of customization. But that's more than the dress I'm wearing to my rehearsal dinner. Then I'm glad the shower was memorable enough to warrant the investment. Silence. Then, Mom and Aunt Catherine are going to flip. They're welcome to call me to discuss it. They did. Oh, they did. Aunt Catherine called first, her voice icy. Maya, this is ridiculous. We're family. And I provided a professional service. Would you ask Marcus to give you free legal advice? Would you expect free medical care from James? That's different. It's not. I own a business. I have bills, employees, loans to pay. This was a full-service event that required extensive planning and preparation. The price is fair. After everything we've done for you? What exactly have you done for me, Aunt Catherine? The question hung in the air. I've always included you. You've made me feel like a failure at every family gathering for 4 years. You've mocked my job, my choices, my life. I'm done accepting that treatment. Pay the invoice or I'll send it to collections. I hung up. Mom called next. This conversation was harder because I'd hoped, stupidly, that she might understand. Maya, please. This is causing such drama. Can't you just reduce the price? For family? Did you reduce your judgment of me? For family. That's not fair. You moved in with Aunt Catherine after Dad died. You left me alone in that apartment with his medical bills. You never asked why I dropped out. You just assumed I'd failed. What are you talking about? I dropped out to work full-time, Mom, to help pay for Dad's treatment. His insurance didn't cover everything, and someone needed to earn money. It was me. I did that. Silence. You never told me that. I shouldn't have had to. You should have asked. You should have noticed. I heard her crying, but I couldn't comfort her. Not anymore. Pay the invoice, I said softly. Please. The next family dinner was 3 weeks later. Sunday dinner at Aunt Catherine's, a tradition I usually avoided. This time I received a personal call. Maya. It was Marcus, my brother. We'd barely spoken since Dad's funeral. You need to come to dinner this weekend. Why? Because Mom's a mess. Aunt Catherine is furious, and Sienna's having second thoughts about the wedding. You've created a family crisis. I sent a bill for services rendered. That's not a crisis, that's capitalism. Jesus, Maya, when did you become so cold? When did you become so blind? I countered. Did you know why I dropped out of Stanford? Pause. You couldn't hack it. I dropped out to help pay for Dad's medical bills, but none of you ever asked. You just assumed. Long silence. Come to dinner, he said finally. Please. I went. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to see their faces. Maybe I wanted an apology. Maybe I was just tired of hiding. The house was tense when I arrived. Mom looked like she'd been crying. Aunt Catherine was cold and formal. Sienna wouldn't look at me. James stood awkwardly by the window, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. Marcus opened the door. Hey! Hey! We sat for dinner, the silence oppressive. Finally, Aunt Catherine spoke. I think Maya owes us an explanation. For what? I asked calmly. For this whole situation. The outrageous bill, the accusations, the drama. I didn't create drama. I ran a business. You exploited your cousin's wedding celebrations for profit. I provided a professional service at standard market rates. Mom interjected, her voice small. Maya, I need to understand. Did you really drop out because of your father? Every eye turned to me. I set down my fork. Yes, he had pancreatic cancer, stage 4. Insurance covered some treatments, but not all. The experimental treatment that gave him 8 extra months, that cost $75,000 out of pocket. Someone needed to work full-time. Marcus was establishing his career. Sienna was in high school. So I left Stanford, got a full-time job, and worked double shifts to help. Aunt Catherine scoffed. Why didn't you just say something? Would it have mattered? Would you have treated me differently? Or would you have found another reason to look down on me? That's not fair, isn't it? I looked around the table. Name one time in the past 4 years that anyone here has asked me about my life with genuine interest. One time someone has congratulated me, supported me, or treated me like I matter. Silence. You can't, because you haven't. I've been the cautionary tale, the disappointment, the dropout who serves coffee. Never mind that I became assistant manager within 2 years. Never mind that I learned a skilled trade. Never mind that I saved enough to buy my own business at 23. None of that mattered because it wasn't what you thought I should be doing. Sienna finally spoke, her voice quiet. I didn't know. You never asked. James was looking at me with an expression I couldn't read. Respect, maybe, or pity. I didn't want either. Marcus cleared his throat. Maya, I'm sorry. We should have paid more attention. We should have supported you. You should have, I agreed, but you didn't. And now I'm done accepting crumbs of approval from people who've never respected me. So what? Aunt Catherine snapped. You're just going to cut us all off? Over money? This isn't about money. It's about respect. You want a family discount? Treat me like family. You want my time and services for free? Earn that privilege. Until then, I'm a business owner who deserves to be paid fairly for her work. I stood up. The invoice stands. Pay it or don't. But I'm done debating my worth with people who've spent years telling me I have none. I left, walked out into the cool evening air, and felt, for the first time in years, light. James called me that night. Don't hang up, he said quickly. Please. I almost did anyway. What do you want? To apologize and to explain. I don't need. Sienna and I have been together since college, he said, talking fast. It's been on and off for years. Every time we break up, her family and mine push us back together. You're so good together, they say. You're the perfect match. It's exhausting. I stayed silent. When you and I met, we were off, really off. She'd moved to New York for work, and we'd agreed to end it for good. I wasn't lying about that. And then I met you, and you were different, real. You talked about coffee like I talk about surgery, with passion and expertise. You made me laugh. You treated me like a person, not like Dr. Chen from Harvard. So what happened? Her job in New York fell through. She moved back. Our families started pushing again. And I'm weak, Maya. I let them pressure me into trying again. I should have told you, but I was ashamed. You deserved better. I still do. I know. He paused. I'm not happy. I don't think she is either. We're doing this because it's expected, because it makes everyone else happy. but it's not right. Then why go through with it? I don't know. Fear of disappointing people. Momentum. Cowardice. I closed my eyes. James, I can't be the other woman in this drama. I won't. I'm not asking you to be. I'm just saying, watching you tonight, standing up for yourself, refusing to accept their treatment. You were incredible. You made me realize how much I've been compromising myself to please others. So, what are you going to do about it? Long silence. I don't know, he admitted. But thank you for reminding me what integrity looks like. He hung up and I stared at my phone, wondering if anything would change. 2 months passed. Moonbeam thrived. The bridal shower referrals started coming in, and I booked 3 more events. I hired another employee. I started a subscription coffee service. The business wasn't just surviving, it was growing. My family paid the invoice, eventually. Aunt Catherine sent a check with no note. Mom paid her portion and sent a separate letter. I'm sorry I didn't see you. I'm sorry I didn't ask. I'd like to do better. Can we try? Marcus took me to lunch and actually listened when I talked about the cafe. He apologized properly, without excuses, and asked if he could invest in my business. I said I'd think about it. Sienna sent a text. I'm sorry for how I treated you. You were right. I took you for granted. The shower was beautiful and you deserved every penny. It wasn't enough, not yet, but it was a start. And then, 3 weeks before the wedding, James called. I ended it, he said without preamble. My heart stopped. What? The engagement. I can't marry someone I don't love, just because it's expected. Sienna agreed, actually. She admitted she wasn't happy either. We've been playing roles for so long, we forgot we were supposed to actually love each other. James. I'm not calling to ask for another chance, he said quickly. I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that you changed my life. You reminded me that I get to choose who I am and what I want. So thank you. You're welcome, I whispered. But also, if you'd ever be willing to get coffee sometime, just coffee. No expectations, no pressure, just 2 people talking. I'd really like that. I thought about everything that had happened. The pain, the humiliation, the revenge, the standing up for myself. I thought about the girl who'd dropped out of Stanford to save her family, who'd worked double shifts and swallowed her pride and let them call her a failure. She was gone now. I'd killed her, or maybe I'd finally freed her. Just coffee, I said. At my cafe. And you're paying full price. He laughed. I wouldn't have it any other way. The family called it a scandal. Aunt Catherine blamed me, of course. You poisoned him against her, she said. Mom defended me this time. Maya didn't do anything wrong. Maybe we all need to stop expecting people to be who we want them to be and let them be who they are. Sienna surprised everyone by taking it well. She'd already started dating someone from her law firm, someone she'd apparently had feelings for months. The whole engagement had been momentum and family pressure, just like James said. I'm actually relieved, she told me at an awkward family coffee date that Mom orchestrated. I've spent my whole life being perfect, being what everyone expected. I'm exhausted. Watching you blow everything up, it was kind of liberating. I didn't blow anything up. I just stopped accepting less than I deserve. She smiled ruefully. Same thing, from where I was standing. 6 months later, Moonbeam was featured in Portland Monthly's Best Coffee Shops issue. They called it a hidden gem, run by an owner-operator who combines technical skill with genuine warmth. I framed the article and hung it in the cafe. Mom came to the grand reopening party I threw to celebrate. Marcus brought his wife. Even Aunt Catherine showed up, though she still looked uncomfortable admitting her dropout niece had succeeded. James came too. We'd been on